Steph, somewhat complicated question, but Klay talked about with his dad being a former NBA player, or NBA player, made a lot of money. You know, his dad's black. He was privileged in a lot of ways that kind of sheltered him from racism. But the last year has certainly woke him up in a lot of ways that really has energized him in terms of social justice. From having talked to your mom and your grandmother, I know they certainly kept you aware of things in your youth, but can you relate to Klay, and have you seen a difference in him in terms of that social justice mentality, race mentality?
Absolutely. It's interesting, just even that awareness of being able to be okay with understanding, our childhoods were a little different because of who our parents were and financial resources and whatnot. But there's it's never too late to activate and become more accountable and responsible to how you can move the needle. And that's different for everybody. Like you said, I didn't necessarily all everyday experience it myself, but I was educated enough and told stories and going back to where my parents grew up and all that to understand the importance of being a part of that change, I guess, and using your platform and resources and the microphone to speak. So I love that Klay saying that. I love that anybody who's openly and outwardly accountable to that is taking it seriously and being honest about their journey with it. So for sure.
And I also want to ask you, how much has he changed since the initial injury off the court?
It's kind of hard to summarize it, but I feel like he is just much more comfortable in where basketball is in his life and the other things that he has going on that bring him joy. But that only increases the appreciation of being able to, play at this level and really commit himself to the work that it's going to take during rehab to get back to 100%. Because that could be demoralizing for a lot of people when, your greatest joy is taken away for so long. But he's found other things that give him life and give him, fun and joy and a sense of purpose, if you will. And basketball is a big piece of that, but he has to work his ass off to get back there. And it's no easy task at all. So that balance is really, really nice to see. Because at one point it was just basketball and basketball only. And I think that's an important thing to realize just as a human being that, it's going to be really gratifying when he gets to the finish line and gets able to, have his moment that he deserves when he comes back. And hopefully he can realize, the positives, if you will, that have come out of it for sure.
And Steph, back to Klay a little bit. He said that, first of all, he does want to play till he's 40. I know we've talked about that with you, but he was reflecting on how well he was playing in 2019 in those finals and shooting and defending, and just he sees himself getting to that level again, but also has the perspective of, it's not going to be right away. Have you? We talked about the maturity on some of these other fronts, but just where he's come in terms of basketball and knowing his body. Have you seen that growth as well? I mean, what 2 years of rehabbing?
I mean, honestly, I've seen it just in how he's attacked this rehab versus the last one. I know there's some circumstances he couldn't control with, the pandemic and being away from staff and whatnot, but just his commitment to this process, understanding the sense of urgency of doing everything first class so that he gives himself the best chance to get back to 2019 Klay. To your point, the awareness of that process of even just, I was concerned about mentally how he'd be, because I'm sure there's going to be a moment, maybe, Thanksgiving or beginning of December, where he's going to feel like he could walk out in the court and play 30 minutes just because he's that kind of got that dog in him, and he probably is going to feel normal. There's going to be a lag effect of when they actually give him that clearance to suit up. Mentally, that to me would seem like one of the hardest periods of his rehab, when games are going, you can feel the energy of the season and he feels good. He's probably going to be practicing with us, and he's still got to wait. And just the awareness of knowing the slow build to even just getting back to 100% ready to play, but then also 100% of what he used to be is great, because you got to be patient with it. And that's probably going to be a battle he's going to have to fight mentally day in, day out, especially towards the end of his return to play.
Steph and Klay's talked a lot about envisioning that night when he comes back 2 years. It's going to be a home game, we've been told. What do you envision that night being like for him? And when you guys get on fire, got the crowd going, and just the Splash Brothers back in action?
It's going to be beautiful. Beautiful basketball. Honestly, it's probably going to be emotional for sure because of everything we talked about. But I'm excited that it's as close as it's ever been. And we'll continue to get that way. So I know the crowd's going to show him so much love like he deserves. I just went to that moment. I told you I'm staying in the now. I just kind of went there. My bad. She was going to be amazing. Whatever other adjectives you can throw in there, it's probably not going to do it justice at all.